Hello, everyone.
Good
I'm
morning.
Mr. Ware. This is a serene 30 minutes of fun and learning. And this will be recorded, so it will go up. And I think of anything we could talk about other than introducing people into the business and supporting them, this is probably the most important item of all. And I'm going to share with you that all those 22.5 years ago, when Mr. Barris introduced me to this, it was interesting what he said to me. He said it was a referral marketing business. That's what he called it. And so I naturally assumed it was all about getting referrals. And I realized that not everybody called it that. So I was on the starting point that that's what I believe this was about. Now, I think lots of us, and I'm going to say it's me included, okay, sometimes miss a trick, and we miss it in many, many ways. Okay, we miss it in many ways. And I think we miss it at the very start when we're doing a presentation. So I'm going to run through with you and say to you, think about the presentation. I'm going to mute some people because they are making noises in the background. Just bear with me. There we go. Okay. So think of the presentation. Think about the old days. Am I allowed to say that? You know, when we used to jump in a car and go and see someone. Well, actually, that's what I've just done. I've done that. Um, couldn't see him at his home. Met him in a sort of cafe place, but it was quieter than most until someone decided to do some DIY. We were going to meet in a Costa Coffee. I'm just sharing this with you because I said, oh, they're so noisy. And it started off quiet, but of course, it is a public place. Now, that's why we want to be with them, preferably at theirs. Because number one, there are all sorts of things that can happen that when you're with someone, it makes it easier. Like I was explaining to him that I don't do any of this silly topping up the cashback card and all that fuffing around. I've got an auto top up on my cashback card, and I could show him there and then on my phone exactly what I meant. I could show him what a real bill looked like when it was printed off, and then it matched up exactly to the billing on the phone. If I was in someone's house, I could make sure actually what kind of meters they had because I'm there. Because believe me, people don't know things, as I've learned. I always take photographs of their meters, whatever. Yeah, I can see thumbs up going on here. And without a shadow of a doubt, if they live in an apartment block or a block of flats, wow, it's a necessity. Because again, often what's on the national database isn't what you see. So being in person is fabulous. And I'll tell you this, and I've said it before, don't know why, don't know how, only that I believe we're called beings that are full of energy. Some people say it's spiritual. I say that I think people feed off each other's energy, that humans are actually predominantly sociable people. And I think one of the really bad things about lockdown was that it's made people quite antisocial. It's made people introverted, inward, and actually they're quite frightened of contact. And I mean that in terms of like, oh my gosh, I've got to show her everything. Well, this is where rapport comes in. Could you put that on your notes in massive writing? Rapport. It's the biggest thing of all. It's called getting on with people. That's the simple language. And the biggest thing you're going to do, and even if you do it like this, and it's much harder through a lens, okay, much harder to build rapport. But what you're going to do is get on with someone. You're going to build what I call rapport building blocks instead of obstructive, objectionable blocks. You're going to get on with that person and you're going to read their body language. That is so essential. That's something you can't do at the end of a Zoom camera. You cannot read their body language and they can't read yours. And I tell you what, it's one of the biggest factors of building rapport and where referrals come in. And as I say to folk, I start off shaking hands with someone when I arrive, and as I just did, even in a cafe, we end up hugging because I've become their friend. So, when do you start the whole referral thing? It's not as you start the presentation, it's before that, way before that. It's in this rapport building moment. So, basically, I'm going to go through what I did about 2 hours ago, and I'm going to explain to you what happened. I've actually got it scripted, but you can have this script if you want, but it's on the lines of, look, thanks for seeing me. And I'm sure you'll agree that if it wasn't for, in this case, it was the Verwood Rotary Club, it could be a person, yeah, I wouldn't be sitting here today. And that's because our business is based on good old-fashioned word of mouth recommendation. And I say to people, I bring it home to them. I say, look, this company don't wade in with loads of millions of pounds like Sky and that, doing prime time commercials that, by the way, a 60-second, 6 till 8 p.m., a 60-second commercial is about 10 million quid to produce. And I say to them, come on, you're not daft. We know who pays for this, don't we? Customers. And they pay for it in higher prices. And I also point out a very good thing. Stephen Longworth and many brilliant people in this business say people will listen to stories. So I always say to them, I'm sure if your house sprung a leak and you didn't have a natural plumber, your first thoughts would be, oh, ring a family member or a trusted friend. Because what you'd like to know is that you're going to get someone that comes recommended, somebody that they've already used, someone they know, like, and trust. They're not going to be ripped off, are going to get a decent price, and their house is going to stay intact. And they usually laugh and they say, yes, you're right. And I say, right, that's the way we work through that recommendation. And as I said, I'm here because of. So you are emphasizing that whole recommendation thing. So what happens next? Well, you need to kind of explain what's going to happen. You know, if you ever do watch it, the news, I don't know if you're aware, but the news happens, but then somebody tells you what the news is going to be before you see the news. They do. And this is a similar thing. So you say, look, my job today is simply to come here and either show you how to save some money or make some money. And you might be interested in both. I even help the customers to get free bills. Wow. Now there's an eye opener. How, you might be thinking, well, if you refer me to some people who become a customer, you'll get £50 off your next bill. In fact, I've got some people that are making it their business to get £50 off their bill every month. And then I say to them, do you know what my smart accountant says to me? All this money that you save, this 50 quid, you don't pay tax and insurance on it. It's worth like £90. Now that's starting to be meaningful because this money is eliminating the cost of our services. So if you love what you see, and I'm sure you will, everyone usually does. And most people recommend me at least 4 of their nearest and dearest. And I'll tell you why 4 at the end. All right. 4 is a magic number. You're going to love it. Now, what you've just done is given them what's called a cliffhanger. Because in their mind, they're thinking, oh, I wonder why 4. I wonder why 4. All right. And now they're going to want you to do this presentation because they're looking forward to the end. Ah, it's clever stuff, isn't it? So what next? You haven't even started. You still haven't opened up your iPad yet. Okay. Before we get started, would you grab a pen and paper for me? And I know this sounds strange, but when we've gone through everything, some people can't think of names. And this way, as we go through stuff, do you know what? There's going to be people that'll pop in your head and you can just write their name down. Just jot them down and we'll see if we can help them. All right. And then we go through the presentation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know how to do the presentation, but are you actually bringing this stuff in? Let me share my screen. Okay, so bear with us while I do so. Just okay. And presentation. I'm doing this on purpose. Could I have Roz put her hand up if you could see save time, save money? Thank you. Lovely. Right. So, guys, I do the watch to find out more. Now, at this point, I'm telling them, do you know what? I am going to show you how to save time and money and earn an extra income. And you will have already found out, you know, various things about them, perhaps what they do for a living. Are they into dogs? Do they go to crufts? Whatever it may be. You know what? It's called getting on with folk. Okay. So you will have done some of that. And then you're going to say to them, right, I'm now going to show you a little bit about this. It's just 4 slides. And I'll say, Mr. Ben Fogel, been a customer for donkey's years. And a few years back, our CEO said to him, how would you like to fly the flag? Be our brand ambassador. Okay. And he's now going to show you how less money can go out, more can come in. Oh, but there's a really important thing I need you to do for me. While you're listening and watching, would you do this? Would you think about what he says and what's most important to you? Guys, if you don't say that, they'll glaze over it. They won't even get involved. Really important. It's going to make them watch. Now, I'm not going to play it because you know it, all right? I'm going to go through and get out the other side like that. So now you've got a screen with a lot of bits on it. Can I just share with you guys? I'm ever so pleased. Head office have been listening to us. We asked them to please put the whole line about save even more with referrals because they took it out, and I don't know why they did. All right. So I usually say to them, look, as you can see, there's an app. Customers love this. The app makes it so simple to get hold of everything and see everything. Most companies, you're fuffing around trying to find the bills. I said it could be a nightmare. And you usually find they do fuff around. Okay. Tell them about, if they're a homeowner, tell them about the £100. Okay. And then at this moment, as I said to the gentleman today, we need to get this done because I'm afraid at midnight on Wednesday, the rate on our UW fixed saver is going to end. It will be something else on Thursday. It always is. All right. So, as it says, all your home services and a simple monthly bill. And I always say to everyone, do you know what? In reality, the interesting thing is people come over for value, but they actually stay because they like the simplicity of the bill and they like this customer service. Can I ask you a question? Do you know anyone that would like a bit more simplicity in their life? Can you think of one person? And they come out with, let's say, Aunt Thelma. So I said, right, put that down on the top of your page, Aunt Thelma. Okay. Now, it's award-winning customer service. Do you know what? Wonderful. Based on the Edgware Road in London, there's a customer service hub in Scotland. There's one in the Midlands. And I said, but then there's us, these incredible people that go the extra mile, literally. We do all kinds of things. Is there anyone that you can think of, just one person, can't be Thelma, one more person that you can think of that would like really good, proper customer service? No AI bot chat. Yeah. No trying to type a question into the computer and hope the computer understands what you mean to get the right answer. And they put a name down. Sometimes you do have to help them. Okay. And then we talk about cashback and all the spending. Now, this is where when you're with them, it's so wonderful. You just get your phone out and you show them. Of course, on a Zoom, you could have a bill at the ready. I find that really useful. I have a bill at the ready and I explain the billing and how good it is. And I say to them again, so come on, can you think of just one person that would love this simpler billing? Can't be Thelma, right? Can't be your sister. It's got to be someone else now. And they say, oh, well, probably that's mum. She loves spending. I say, all right, mum, that's great. Sometimes what they do is they go, yeah, but I know someone else. I'll say, no, hold it there. Do you remember I said only four? There's a reason for four. Okay. And then you tell them about towards early termination fees and 30 days peace of mind promise. And you explain all that. And that is an enabler. I say to them, do you know what? If you've got poor service or higher prices and you want to get out, isn't it great? The company helps you. They're paying off those higher prices sooner. Amazing. And they're so confident with what this is, they go beyond the 14 days and they give you a 30-day peace of mind promise. Brilliant. But here's the number one clincher. Here it is. This is what this business is all about. It's referring. I'm here because it was the Rotary Club. They said, I got there and you were there and here we are. And there's other people in there. So the good news is, do you know what? There's someone in that Rotary Club. I've already signed up. He said, have you? I said, yeah. I'm going to put him down as your referrer. Do you know why? Because he's going to get £50 off his bill. Don't you think that's fabulous? He goes, yeah. I say, oh, well, it's even better than that because you're going to get another £100 off. But do you know what? Because he's recommended, you're going to get another £50. Yeah. So can you see why I said to you, it's all about recommendation. So come on, can you think of just one more person now that would just love all this? And they come up with another name. Sometimes you have to help them. And then the last bit is, well, now this looks a bit of a scam, doesn't it? In anyone's books, free energy. No, it's true. And that's why if you're with them, it's great. You show them that bill that's free energy, or you can do it on Zoom. You can show them. And then why was the reason for four? Because they're itching to know. So you say to them, look, I show everyone this. I know possibly you're not interested in earning money, but do you know what? If I had £1 for everybody that's elderly that said to me, well, I've got a grandson just come out of university and he's looking to do something, this is why we show you. All right. It may not be for you. We're showing you because there might be people that'll be so glad that you refer them to me and I will help them earn some money. So look, there's a bit of extra cash. £250 is the average because most people take 3 services because the company gives you £400. Now, that's just one a month. Okay. You know that free energy? It can be that. If someone takes 4 services and you do this once a month, somebody with 4 services or maybe 2, do you know what? You're going to get free energy now on your bill and you show them the bill again. Do you know that's worth £1,800 a year? Wow. That's on top of all this money. This is silly. And a lot of people decide I'll do a little bit more and they recommend one person a week. Now, what happens? Why did I say 4? Well, 4 is the magic number because we get something called higher activity bonus and they're worth more. That will earn you on average £1,400 for a couple of hours work a week. Now, I say a couple of hours. All right, some people say an hour. Do you know what? Better to under-promise and over-deliver. If they do it in less time, they're happy, aren't they? And say, look, £1,400. Now, you've got 4 names down there. And yes, I'm sure you'd love £50 each month off your bill. I'm sure you would. But hey, excuse me, would you like to be part of this money? Because in the beginning, it's going to be me doing the work. And you know what? You're going to be earning the money. Can you see how the presentation is the starting point to getting referrals? Yeah. And then you mention about the financial security, and I explain all of that. Now, I'm going to stop the share and bring you all back in because that's only one part of referring. Okay. So, would you like to unmute yourselves? Because I decided this was such an important subject that I'm going to bring it in again next week. But there's got to be some questions at this moment on what I've just shown you there. Anybody got any questions about referring, getting those names on the presentation? Hands up if you're absolutely petrified.
Quite petrified, but hey.
Okay, right. Can I tell you, it's a thing that's all in our mind. Because in the old days, in fact, I'm going to grab one, 2 seconds.
Oh,
Oh,
She just disappeared. That was
it
magic.
disappeared.
magic. So here we go. In the old days, we had these books. Oops, there we go. Customer referrals. And on the other side, it said prospective distributors. Now, I've got 15 of these all filled. Because in the old days, when you paid 200 quid to start, you got a box of some leaflets, some application forms. Who remembers that?
Yeah.
There were no bloody customers or partners, though, were there? But one of the things that was in there was this little book. And of course, Mr. Barris said to me, this is a referral network marketing business. Now, I'm going to share with what I used to do. I used to go into an appointment, and this is what he said do. And I suppose my background being police officer, kind of used to taking orders in those days. I kind of did what I was told. So after I had done my appointment, I didn't do all that, by the way. It was totally different. We used to use a little brochure to do our presentation. It's really funny when I think about it. But this little book, right, was placed on the table at the start of the appointment. So psychologically, they were seeing customer referrals. Now, I've got a different book and it says people to help. And I got that off of Miss Claire Hingot because that's actually much nicer than customer referrals. People to help. Yeah. Bit yellow. Mind you, that was yellow, wasn't it? That was yellow. But what I used to do was I'd sit there, do the appointment, then I'd open it up. This is absolutely true. I'd open it up onto the page that was now blank, and I'd say to them, right then, so first person that you'd like to help see their bills come down. And do you know what? If you shut up and you have your pen poised, they fill the silence and they go, oh, right, well, probably my sister. And everyone used to give me 3. This is absolutely true. And it's like, where in the scheme of things did people stop doing this? I don't know, but I found out many weren't doing it. And that's why Mr. Critchley got me to stand up at the Blue Mountain Golf Club and talk about referrals because I didn't realize that I was one of the few people doing it. Now, I just do it slightly different because the company has evolved this presentation so fabulously well that it actually brings out that you can ask the names in a beautiful way, a non-coercive way. It is absolutely amazing. It's there. And I promise you, if you get that bit of paper and a pen, they do this. Claire Hingot is on your learning portal under our referrals. There's a 14-minute video, and she will actually tell you that. It's been the lifeblood of how she has built her business. Can I ask you all, Do you not think that's maybe a little bit, well, it costs nothing to do,
Yeah.
number one. You haven't got to spend out booking 20K events or
Yeah.
paying to business networkings or whatever other things there are. This is free.
Yeah.
And it actually does do the trick. So I'm going to put this to you. If you've never done this before, put this down and do it. Have a go at your very next appointment and do it. Now, if they're on Zoom, it is a little bit harder because you're going to have to ask them, well, could they go and fetch a bit of paper and a pen?
Mm.
And obviously, actually, you know, it's harder to build rapport. I'm going to share something very funny with you because the gentleman I've just seen, he couldn't have been more green. He was a financial advisor and he was hung up on the money, the figures. And he didn't want to switch his Virgin broadband because it all worked. Even though um, I showed him the Trustpilot, which was horrifying if you look at Virgin Trustpilot and look at UW. It's like, whoa. Even though all of that, he just didn't want to switch because we were effectively the same price and he couldn't see the point of switching. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So I used a line that I've heard Claire Bracey use, and I want to share it with you, and it's fabulous. I said to him, look, your bills are your bills at the moment. There's nothing at all you could do about getting them down unless you are exceedingly good at wasting time through automated voice services, finally
Mm.
getting to somebody in a far-flung part of the world and bartering with them to get down your price. That's all you've got. With this price that's come up is the maximum you're going to pay. Because when you start recommending, that's going to be £50 a month off your bill. You know those two mobiles that you're quibbling about, that you've got gift gaff one for 10, gift gaff one for 12, and now you're going to pay 33, but you've now got unlimited. I said, that isn't even going to come into play because when you use the cashback card, it will eliminate it entirely. And every time you refer someone, oh, happy days, I said, do you know what? You're going to be paying even less for your gas and electric.
Mm.
So you see, this referral thing is massive. And I don't think that people talk about it enough. I think they're terrified. I think what goes on is like, let me just get this in the bag. Let me just get this customer. And that's good enough. And then
Mm.
fly out the door before they say, no, I want to cancel. And I think that's what's going on. But
Mm.
I tell you why you bother to do this. Because there's going to be people that will turn around to you as they have done to me. They turn around and go, actually, I'm not sure that I want to refer. I quite fancy some of this money.
Mm.
And now
Mm.
you've got a partner. And that is so much nicer because you could possibly change their life forever, not just a few quid off the bills. What is it I hear? You can help people save some money on their bills, but you can't help them get out of debt by saving money. You can only help them get out of debt by earning.
Mm.
So, was that what you expected? Was it useful?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I would say
Would,
that was very useful.
yes.
It's
yeah,
given
very
me
good.
more.
Yeah.
I've always felt that you go in and you want to get it over and done with and go out, and that's not what we should be doing. As you say, if it takes longer, so be it.
And
Um,
listen, your friend of mine, Leon Warner, okay, he's top of the league table. He
mhm.
was at the Buzz. He was actually really good. He he is now from the early days when he was in and out the door. He's changed his whole tack, and he realizes that actually time well spent with someone is called investing. at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're going to pay the dividends later. And I'll tell you this is real. Everyone you get to use the cashback card or to start doing referrals, they're never going to leave.
Mm.
When their second contract comes in and it hikes up, I promise you, they're not going to leave because they already realise they've eliminated the cost of it.
Mm.
Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you need now, you need gumption. All right? You want gumption in buckets full. And you want to say to yourself, next appointment, I'm going to try this. Now, how do you get the next appointment? Ladies and gentlemen, it's easy. Do
Pick
you
up
know
the
what you
phone.
do? You ring someone and say, I need a bit of practice on something I've just learned. Yes. And they might turn around and become a customer. Happy days. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. And it'll be same time, same place next week. Get it in your diary. And it's going to be, I'll upload it and it'll be recorded as well. And it'll come out to you. Lovely to see you. Hope that was of great. If you like this, put some feedback on your groups, all right? And let's get some more people in. All right? Take care.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye.